CS2's last massive update made a lot of improvements to some issues players were having with how the game felt mechanically, which is fantastic. But looming behind every new update that Valve rolls out is the expectation that they'll finally do something about CS2's cheating problem. So, we sat down with one of the people responsible for creating Valorant's Vanguard anti-cheat system to find out how this issue can be solved once and for all.
This is a whole perception battle that you have to fight on the anti-cheat side of things. You know, having good detections and getting cheaters out matters, but also making sure that that's visible to the community matters too. And if it looks like you're not taking action, then you're actually encouraging cheating in a lot of ways on your platform.
First off, thanks to ROG for sponsoring this video. Here's Dimitri to tell you more about their Black Friday sale.
All right, first things first, if you are in the market for a killer gaming monitor, boy, do I have some good news for you, gamers. This year, ROG are having an exclusive 15% off Black Friday sale on their Swift OLED PG27 AQDM monitor only on Amazon. We actually just partnered with ROG for a Cracked where Colton and I built a god-tier rig just to test out ROG's new 540Hz monitor. That said, all of ROG's gaming displays are top tier, and the PG27 is no exception. It's the brightest OLED gaming monitor on the market, boasting colors and contrast that you need to see to believe. The PG27 also offers 1440p resolution and a 240Hz refresh rate, which is pretty much the perfect combination for any real capital G gamer. So head over to Amazon if you're in need of a stellar upgrade that won't break the bank. Now back to the video.
Okay, so we all know that cheating in CS2 right now is really f***ing bad. So much so that it could be one of the major reasons the game is seeing a player count drop.
Cheat? Nah. What makes you say that? What makes you say that?
Now, it's not like Valve isn't aware of this issue, and I would love to believe that they're dedicating like 90% of their brain power to solving this issue. But it's been almost 2 months since the game released, and over 6 since it was first teased, along with all the data mining of any mention of an improved anti-cheat. So the question is, what the hell happened along the road, and when can we actually expect an update? Well, before we can even try to answer that, we need to go back 2 years ago and introduce our new friend, Nemanja Mulismajic, or Nemi for short. You see, back in 2021, before CS2 was even confirmed to be real, CSGO's cheating problem was arguably just as bad as it is now. Back then, there were almost non-stop complaints about the underperformance of VAC, and it got to the point where a Valve programmer, John McDonald, even faced some persecution. But it was at that moment that sparked Nemi to publicly reach out on Twitter to offer his assistance. But what makes Nemi such an authority on the subject that he could solve CSGO's biggest problem? Well, after working for the US government Department of Defense as a software engineer with a top secret clearance, Nemi went out to work for Blizzard developing anti-cheat before he was brought on by Riot to do the exact same thing until he ultimately helped develop Valorant's Vanguard system. An anti-cheat that is arguably one of the best in the business right now, so yeah, I would say that Nemi knows what the f he's talking about. But John McDonald, or Valve for that matter, never responded. And Nemi went on to build his own company and his own powerful anti-cheat that was eventually acquired by Roblox just last year. So we reached out to Nemi to figure out where everything went wrong. And first and foremost, his response came from a place of sympathy.
As a player, I want Valve to be successful. I want Counter-Strike to be successful. That's the game I grew up playing, right? And it does feel like a little disappointing that they're not taking it as serious as they can, because, you know, Valve is a very successful company. They have the resources and the money to throw serious skin into this effort and make a big dent for cheating. It's just that I don't know if it's a priority for them. That's the big thing. Like, I don't see it being prioritized as much as some of their other efforts. And that's just the nature of the business.
What are those other priorities? Well, Nemi suggests it could be things like the Steam Deck, Steam itself, and other money-making products. Now, Nemi admits it's not like Valve is doing nothing. The improvements they've already made to VAC, things like machine learning and server-side detection, is very impressive and important. But he also goes on to say that that's only half the battle. Nemi says to properly deal with cheating, you need a combination of 3 things: detection, prevention, and deterrence. The anti-cheat itself that actually detects the hackers when they pop up, anti-tampering software that makes it as hard to make cheats as possible, and then banning people who try either. And at the heart of all of this is that anti-tamper software. As Nemi explained to us, the #1 goal should be making cheating as inaccessible and expensive as possible.
You kind of restrict that just like the top tier talent who is really just doing it for business. And when you only have a few cheat sellers, it makes it way easier for the company to prioritize them, whether that means like go after them with legal action or, target them for detection. Because when there's only 1 or 2 cheats for your game, it's easy to, get a copy of that cheat, reverse engineer it, and make detections for it. But when you have thousands of cheats for your game, well, what do you prioritize? That gets very complicated.
And Nemi has proof that this approach to anti-cheat actually works. I mean, anecdotally, Valorant feels like a pretty cheat-free experience for the average player, which is a direct result of cheating being very costly and annoying. It's not like Valorant doesn't have any cheaters, it's just been reduced to a small group of people that are willing to dedicate the effort. For more concrete evidence, Nemi claims that Roblox saw a 97% decrease in cheaters on Windows when they got rid of the old anti-cheat system. 97% is a big f***ing number. So how does Valve replicate this? Well, as Nemi said before, first things first, this needs to become the main priority for Valve. And improving the anti-tamper side of things is going to do a lot in fighting this battle. And although it isn't 100% necessary, Valve can greatly increase their odds at winning this battle if they decide to go a certain route. One that CS players have been actually asking for quite some time: a kernel driver similar to Valorant's Vanguard. A kernel program essentially gives better access to anti-cheat to view the processes going on one's computer, to better detect things like cheating or spoofing. Now, that does seem a bit scary, providing basically unfettered access to a company like that. But as Nemi explained, it really comes down to whether or not you trust the company to install their software on your computer or not. And if you don't trust them, you probably shouldn't be playing their game in the first place. So is that just it then? Valve just needs to make this a bigger priority, focus on preventative measures, and maybe toss in some good old kernel access to speed things up? Well, yeah, sort of. But as Nemi made it clear through our conversation, it's easier said than done. What Nemi has committed basically his entire life to, and what people working on VAC do every day, is no small mountain to climb. And in the case of CS2, it isn't us versus Valve. It's Valve and us versus the cheaters. Listen, none of us actually know how much time and effort is being put into VAC right now. We could see an update next week, it could be a year from now. But the point I made the other week and what Nemi said today stands true. Saying nothing is helping no one. Right now, people are leaving the game because they don't know what the f is going on or what the future holds. And cheaters are only emboldened because they think they have nothing to worry about. I want to know how much money this character has made, like just globally, like from materials sold to make cosplays for it, to skins in Fortnite of this character, to the skins that maybe they've sold in the Street Fighter games for it. Probably a lot, and we have now contributed to it by buying whatever this figurine is supposed to be.